you are thinking about breaking the laws of the United States of America, you will be returned home, you will be arrested, you will be prosecuted. Do not come.
And welcome back to Square Off. President Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, sending one of many messages in Trump's 10 executive orders on immigration. The executive orders and policy changes on the border and immigration coming so fast, it was kind of hard to keep up, but that was by design. Shock and awe, Trump aides called it. We're joined by Ray Ybarra Maldonado, a longtime immigration attorney, to get a handle on what is going on out there. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me back, Ray. I appreciate it.
Have you been able to keep up with what's been coming out of the White House?
A little bit of sleep and a lot of reading this week, I'll tell you that for sure.
What is going on? What is the impact in these first few days on the ground? What are you hearing from clients, the community?
I really appreciate that question, Bram, because I think that gets overlooked. We all talk about the rhetoric, we all see the headlines. The reality of what's happening in the community is this is one of the worst mental health crises I've ever seen for the immigrant and Latino community. There is general panic and fear that when you leave your house, you're not going to come back to your kids. And there's children going to school thinking that mom and dad aren't going to be there when they get home. It is absolutely horrific. The number of calls, the crying, the tears throughout our community is rampant. And it's a responsibility, or it's a culpability of Donald Trump for this ridiculous rhetoric attacking our community.
And what are you telling people when you get those calls?
We have to take a step back, right? Take a deep breath, look at the overall situation. Donald Trump is all about rhetoric. Him saying day one, I'm going to start mass deportations. We knew, people that have been doing this for a while, he didn't have the infrastructure to do that. He didn't have the people power, he didn't have the buses, he didn't have the detention centers, so we have to calm people down. So a lot of my job in the past week has been really doing that, really triage of this mental health crisis and talking people off the ledge, so to speak.
And so we saw back in 2017 during his first term, it wasn't so much the big gestures, but the policy changes that people don't see that could result in deportations. We saw that with a client of yours at the time, Lupe Reyes, who showed up at ICE for a regular visit and immediately was put on a bus.
And that's,
is that kind of thing happening?
It is. It is.
The
It's
smaller
back again.
policy changes.
It's back again. Day one, we saw people in absolute tears because the CBP One app was taken away. People have been waiting for months in Mexico to get their interview to come into the country, and we're going to see it continuing throughout the next 4 years. But important part to remember, we've been through this tragedy, we've been through this terror, we've seen the tears and deportations before. We're going to continue to fight, and just like Guadalupe Garcia-Rios is back home, anybody that gets removed during this administration, we're going to keep working to get them back.
We are hearing random reports of ICE staging workplace raids. Is this rumor, fear?
So far, I haven't been able to really verify the vast majority of rumors that we've seen. We have to remember, when we talk about an ICE raid, those take months to plan. Someone issues a complaint, they request documentation of taxes, they do their investigation, and then they plan the raid. So something that did happen might have been planned even way before Trump administration. Trump has been more about rhetoric, while the deportations have been continuing regardless of who is in office.
Are you seeing, right now they say it's criminal, undocumented immigrants being deported. Do you see the evidence of that?
I think that's going to be their focus. Again, week one's been rhetoric, been really bad rhetoric. But I think as they implement things going forward, I think they will be going after people with criminal convictions and arresting people on the way who they capture out there in the streets and doing more worksite raids. I definitely anticipate those.
You think that's going to happen?
100%. We saw it in Mississippi with the ICE raids. They have the blueprint to do it. They want the theatrics of the buses and people in handcuffs, and I anticipate a lot of those in the next 4 years.
The first bill President Trump is signing is an immigration bill, the Laken Riley Act. It expands undocumented immigrants' exposure to deportation. You're shaking your head. We've talked about this before. It was backed by Democrats here in Arizona, Senator Ruben Gallegos, Senator Mark Kelly as well. This fight seems unlike what we saw, say, about 10, 15 years ago with Arpaio. Do you have allies?
My wife, my team, and outside of that, that's about it.
But usually the political allies I'm talking about.
No, yeah, that's the point. There isn't. It just doesn't exist, because to sit here and even hear our sitting attorney general say, we need more troops to secure the border. Where's the evidence for that? Where's the facts for that? We were fighting against the border wall. We were fighting against militarization of the border. And Democrats at one point were on our side. And now they've adopted this Republican rhetoric and think we need to be more Republicans than the Republicans on the border and get more troops or get more resources on the border. The fentanyl's come through the port of entry. People aren't putting it on backpacks like marijuana like they did before. So let's talk about, if you want to stop drugs, talk about port of entry. Don't talk about putting more Border Patrol agents in the middle of the desert to stare at sand.
All right. Ray Ybarra Maldonado, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.